10% of life is what happens to you. 90% is how you respond. Welcome, queens and kings, to How to Improve Your Mental Health, part 29. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about controlling what you can control, how you respond. Before we get started, I'd love you to control hitting that like button. And while you're here, if you're new, would you please join the ever-growing community of the One App family? We're not even a community at this point, we're a family. Hit that subscribe button and join our mission. My younger brother said to me a long time ago, many years ago, you need to control how you respond because that's what gets you into trouble. And it was so true. And I didn't listen to him and I wasn't able to control how I responded. I used to respond from anger. I used to respond from insecurity. We've definitely talked along this journey about understanding why you do what you do. What are your intentions? And on that note, a lot of the way that I used to respond was due to my insecurities. I don't need to explain what those insecurities were, but I had them, you've got them, we all have them. And when you act out of insecurity, out of any kind of negative energy, whether that's fear, anger, regret, guilt, any of those energies, you always respond in a way which causes you more problems. It's just a fact. If you retaliate, you cause problems for yourself. And when you cause those kinds of problems, inevitably you have an adverse effect on your mental health. And it's taken me many years to find that out. What I've realized is that I already had preconceptions about how things were supposed to be. And when they didn't happen the way I wanted them to be, I reacted badly. I couldn't control the way that I responded. And I'm going to talk about how to improve the way that you respond in a little while, so stick around. In future videos, we're going to be talking about your relationship with others and your relationship with the world. And this is definitely a topic that we'll delve much deeper into when we get to that part of the series of videos. But for now, what I wanted to talk about was that I'm often emphasizing the fact that we just can't control what the governments do. Look at what's going on at the moment in the UK. In the UK at the moment, the government looks so corrupt. In America at the moment, the government looks so corrupt. In fact, are there any countries left in the world where governments don't seem corrupt? And how does that make us feel? How does it make us feel as citizens of those countries, as citizens of the world? It makes us feel scared, worried, bitter, frustrated. And then what happens is we take our frustrations and our fears out on the people around us and out on the people that we're supposed to love, and we don't control the way that we're supposed to respond. The world, the governments act wrong. We can't control that. I always say this as well, I seem to have a vendetta against rich people, but rich people have not got a problem. Rich, obnoxious, arrogant people that seem to think money makes everything better. Their greed, you can't control that. You can't control rich people just wanting to get richer and watching poor people get poorer. At the moment, right now in the UK, energy prices are up, petrol prices are up, food prices are up. Everything seems to be going wrong at the moment, and we can't control that. We've got no control over the economy. We've got no control over any of it. But what we can control, the only thing that we can control, is how we respond. First and foremost, I'm going to tell you something that I learned very recently, about a year ago, which was the pause. I definitely talked about meditation. In video 5, I talked about meditation. Meditation has been the most life-changing thing in my life in the last 18 months. Hands down, the single biggest change I've made in my life that has benefited me. And through meditation, I've learned the art of the pause. And what the pause means is that when someone says something that you don't like, rather than respond straight away out of anger or confusion or fear or regret or any of that, you take a pause, you compose yourself before you've probably even finished speaking, and it didn't serve me well. And all the pause has done stopped me from escalating arguments, escalating conflicts. Particularly, I'll give you an example. When I was in my job, my corporate job that I left this summer that I'm always talking about leaving, when I left that job, some of the things people said to me in that job, particularly middle management, that I totally didn't agree with, 5 years ago, or even going worse than that, things would have gone very differently. I would not have tolerated listening to those things from people. But now, through the work that I've done and through meditation, I've learned when you can control how you react, you feel better. Most of the time, you won't change the other person's opinion, or you won't change the other person's feelings, but you won't change the other person's decision. You can't improve that person's character, or you can't help that person, but most of the time you can't improve that person's character, you can't help that person by you taking a pause. But now and again you'll notice that when you take a pause and don't react how you used to react, and you don't react how they expected you to react, sometimes you'll be surprised at how they then change, and then they back off, or then they meet you halfway, or they're prepared to compromise. And because you bring that level of positive energy, the pause is positive energy. Pause is you saying, I'm not going to make this situation worse than it needs to be. I'm not going to take your level of action and match it, especially when people are name calling you. In the UK at the moment, it's anti-bullying week, and one of the things I've been saying to my son is, even when someone says something derogatory to you, you're not supposed to respond. Ego makes you want to respond. You don't want to be somebody that people are able to just say things to and you say nothing back. On the flip side, you have to understand that people themselves act out of insecurity. Bullies themselves act out of fears and insecurities. And we're going to talk about that when we get to the later part of this series of videos. Again, similarly, when I was talking earlier about not being able to control how governments act and not being able to control how the world is, we can't control any of that. So when I'm talking about fuel prices going up and food prices going up and energy prices going up, you can control how you respond, and the only solution is to try and either cut back on your expenditure in other areas if you're not earning more, or earn more. They're the only two options, because either you earn more to cover for that extra spending, or you spend less to cover for that extra spending. Video 25 was all about decision making, and that's a decision that you can make to control how you respond. The overriding message in this video is that we have the power to control how we respond. In yesterday's video, we were talking about making changes, and this is definitely a change that I've made in my life, and this is a change I would urge anyone to make, because it's a really positive one that stands you in good stead for positive mental health. When you are able to control how you respond, and you can remain calm, and you, in the face of a storm, you can remain calm and control how you act and how you respond, you'll find that you can actually be a calming influence on other people, but mainly you can be a calming influence on yourself. Because the worst thing you can do is take a situation and make it worse because of your reaction. Instead, what I'm saying to you is take the situation, whatever it is, and diffuse it by the way that you react. Take that situation, and instead of making it a much worse one, control it. You control it, and you have the power to do that. And when you do control situations, and you do control the way that you respond, you will in fact help yourself to improve and maintain your positive mental health, which is the purpose of this whole series of videos. Alright, queens and kings, this has been Shez Sheikh. I'm the Urban Hippie. I'll be back tomorrow with the next installment of the How to Improve Your Mental Health series. Big love and blessings. We all need a positive